One morning, as Gregor Samsa was waking up from anxious dreams, he discovered that in bed he had been changed into a monstrous, verminous bug. If it were you, what would you do if you woke up to find yourself transformed into a hideous giant bug with a huge, bulging belly and tiny, spindly legs? It's completely absurd, right? And you're probably thinking, I would never find myself in such a ridiculous tragedy. But hold on, don't think this bizarre story comes from some horror movie. It comes from the masterpiece titled The Metamorphosis by the Austrian writer Franz Kafka. It's a classic work that has had a massive influence in the 20th century and is taught in literature programs at many Western universities. When I first read this book in middle school, all I could think was, how can people be so cruel and terrifying? But after entering the real world, after gaining more life experience and coming back to this book one more time, I realized that the author tells a strange story in the very flat, matter-of-fact tone. But when you peel back the fictional layer of this story, the truth underneath is absolutely heartbreaking. The bug hiding in the shadows, the image the story presents, is like a miniature portrait of so many adults. This transformation into a giant bug is no longer some far-fetched fantasy, but a reality that many of us have experienced or are currently going through. Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to Step Forward, the channel for all-around personal development through great books. Today, I want to share a message called Don't Live Just to Please Others through the book The Metamorphosis from Step Forward's Classics collection. Let's dive in. People only care if you're flying high, not if you're tired. Waking up before the sun, Gregor quickly brushes his teeth, washes his face, and rushes to catch the 5 a.m. train to get to work on time. After that, he has to travel all over for his sales route. Every day, he's nearly exhausted from the constant travel and switching between different modes of transportation. He eats irregularly, doesn't get enough sleep, and for him, this is just a normal day. He's lived this way for 5 straight years, without a single day off, without a single mistake at work. Even when Gregor discovers he's turned into a giant bug, his first reaction isn't panic. It's not to cry out for help. How do I turn back into a person? His only thought is, I can't be late for work. Why does he think this? It's because the mindset of, I can be tired, but I can't fall, has been deeply ingrained in the mind of an adult for a long time, just like so many of us rushing through the morning crowd to get to work on time, then dragging ourselves through the evening traffic to get home, every day like a soulless machine spinning for work. Every time he walked into the office, Gregor just wanted to scream at his boss, I quit! But after imagining this scene hundreds of times, reality would hit him hard, forcing him to swallow his feelings. He had to endure it to pay off his parents' debt. This debt would probably take another 5 or 6 years to clear. And since his father's business failed, he had voluntarily become the pillar of the family. The whole family depended on him, and he was the pride of his parents and sister. This pillar couldn't fall and didn't dare to fall. In reality, there are many people just like this character. Every morning, they wake up with no way back, no escape, just gritting their teeth and plowing ahead. If I quit, where will the money for milk and school fees come from? If I stop working, how will I pay for my parents' hospital bills? If I take a day off, how will I make the payments on the car, the house? These are the pressures and responsibilities pinned on the shoulders of an adult, and no matter how tired you are, you don't dare to stop. But Gregor's situation today is completely different. His body is now incredibly cumbersome. He no longer has nimble hands, but instead tiny legs that move in a chaotic mess. It takes him 2 hours just to figure out how to roll himself out of bed. By now, it's past 8 a.m., an hour late for work. He hears his father's voice from outside, and someone from the company has arrived. In a workplace that only values productivity, where's the humanity? It's bound to be cold and unforgiving of any mistakes. The man from the company is there to check if Gregor is faking sick at home. But as soon as he opens the door and sees Gregor transformed into a bug, he panics and runs for his life, leaving Gregor's desperate pleas behind. "I'll get dressed immediately, pack my samples, and be on my way. I'm very loyal to my boss. My parents and sister need me. I need this job to pay off the debt, and only this job gives me a way out. Please don't be so hard on me." But his voice is now just the chirping of an insect that no one can understand. His despair is no different from that of a 21st century employee being fired just because of their health. I once witnessed an employee who had worked at a company for 5 years, accumulating over 3,000 hours of overtime. This employee had given his all to the company, but when he was diagnosed with a serious illness, the company found a clever way to let him go. There's a saying, people only care if you're flying high, not if you're tired. It's like how no one sympathizes with Gregor's situation or tries to help him. The truth is, people only care about their own interests first. Before stepping into the real world, we all have so many dreams and expectations. By working hard, I'll quickly get promoted and make more money. But after a few years of grinding it out, you finally have to admit that most of us are just ordinary, and the vast majority of jobs are just to make a living. Even if you try your best, you might achieve good results and a high salary for a short time. But once you get older and your health starts to decline, you'll soon be thrown off this spinning wheel with no way back. The company can go on without you, but if you lose yourself, lose your health, you can never get it back. It's a saying I've shared before. Any job in the world that is just for making a living is not worth sacrificing your health for. So the first thing you must do is love your health and love yourself. Don't live to please others. Gregor's transformation into a giant bug not only horrifies the man from the company, but also his entire family. His father doesn't hide his disgust, stomping his foot, raising his cane and a newspaper to shoo Gregor back into his room. His mother jumps up in fear, screaming, "Help me, God, help me!" And his sister cries out in despair. Gregor can only crawl back into his room. He understands their fear when faced with something so abnormal, but behind that, there's a deeper fear than his transformation. Gregor, once the pillar of the family, has now become a burden. He's lost his job and can no longer support his family. The family savings can only last for 2 years. When this pillar falls, the family members are forced to fend for themselves. The father gets a job as a bank messenger, the mother starts sewing underwear for a shop, and the sister has to give up her dream of music to become a sales clerk. The family members all become busier, and now Gregor is truly, literally, just a bug. It's true that there are ungrateful children, but there are also parents who don't have real love for their children. From the day we're born, it seems we carry the weight of so many people's expectations. Our parents want us to study hard, get good grades, find a high-paying job, make them proud, and find a good partner. Our bosses want us to work diligently, be efficient, and give our all to the company. Our partners want us to be understanding, empathetic, and always there when they need us. The expectations of others are like heavy chains that bind us, and if we live only to meet those expectations, we will soon lose our way and lose our true selves. In the novel, Everything I Never Told You, the purpose of our lives is to escape the expectations of others and find our true selves. To be honest, it's hard to completely escape others' expectations, but we can't always live in them. You need to face them. Expectations are just a nice blessing from others, but they shouldn't be your life's goal. The only thing you have to do is work hard to realize what you truly want for yourself. The direction of your heart should be to have the courage to be disliked, to dare to live for yourself. Loving yourself This is where we should be headed. Don't overestimate your place in any relationship. When Gregor goes from being the family's umbrella to just a bug in their eyes, he becomes like a ticking bomb in the house. The relationship between him and his family members gradually changes. For the first month, the family still tries to take care of him, but when they see no improvement, they start going through the motions. Every day he's given leftovers, along with an increasingly worse attitude. Although no one knows or understands Gregor's pain, he still doesn't blame his family. He still yearns to be the pillar for them all again. And then, when he tries to protect his family one more time, it's the moment he loses everything. One day, the boarders in their house ask his sister to play the violin for them, but they listen while smoking, not paying attention and showing impatience, wanting her to stop. Gregor feels so sorry for his sister that he painfully squirms and tugs at her skirt, trying to tell her to go to her room and play for herself. But unfortunately, he reveals himself to the boarders. They are disgusted by him and demand to terminate their lease. At this point, the family's patience has reached its limit. The sister, who was once the kindest to him, is now so angry and ashamed that she locks him in his room. Before the door closes, Gregor sees his family for the last time. His sister is hugging his father's neck, and his mother is fast asleep. The three of them are so peaceful and warm, as if he never existed in this family. This scene shatters Gregor's last hope of survival. A writer once said, "Only when you are at your lowest and most insignificant do you have the best chance to see the truth of human nature." Gregor treated his family with utmost sincerity. He believed that his sacrifice for them needed no reward. But he forgot one thing. Human nature is selfish. No matter how deep a relationship is, it can change. The next day, when the cleaning lady comes to tidy the room, she finds a dead bug on the floor. Gregor has died in solitude. The end of this poor man's life teaches us not to overestimate any relationship, especially those built on money or one-sided endless giving. In this society, each of us is the protagonist of our own life script, so please don't try to be the hero in anyone else's play. Misfortune comes from losing yourself. Gregor's misfortune was turning into a bug, and it was even more unfortunate that when his life changed, no one accepted him, even after he had sacrificed everything. Why did such misfortune happen to such a dedicated person? Was it because the company was ruthless, or because his family was too cold? The truth is, the primary reason is that he had long since given up on himself. On the surface, Gregor had no choice but to work to pay off the debt, but when he was young, full of energy and potential, he lost the courage to find a more reasonable, effective job to pay off the debt. And he didn't know how to find joy in the cracks of his life of work and debt repayment. As for his family, they were struggling but not destitute. Everyone was still capable of earning money, even when they were in debt, but Gregor placed himself at the very top, becoming the pillar for everyone, paying off the family debt, buying a nice house for his parents, and making his sister's musical dreams come true. All of this went beyond what family members owe each other, but it made his relatives develop a habit of using the family name to expect, to rely on, to depend on, and to exploit him as a matter of course. When you make others' needs the center of your life, your value will always be based on their demands and evaluations. And the most dangerous thing is that losing yourself makes people forget to self-reflect daily. Then one day they will give up fighting against the distorted and warped things and become slaves in someone else's life. And the story is so ironic that the family finally breathes a sigh of relief after Gregor's death. Even more frightening, the story doesn't have a sad ending. Having lost their son, Gregor's parents continue to place their hopes for the future on his sister. Looking at the sister, now young and full of life, a thought suddenly comes to me. What if one day she too becomes a giant bug, her wings broken in two, if she, like her brother, always lives for others' expectations and only tries to please her parents. In reality, though we don't turn into bugs, many of us are no different from Gregor. We always live to satisfy others. The metamorphosis might be a punishment for Gregor, but it's also a warning for all of us. Recognize the people who take what you do for granted. The meaning of our existence is not to become the person others need. Our efforts, our contributions are not to be taken for granted. The most important thing is to let your values create and shape a life that belongs to you. Think of others, but also live for yourself. This is the strongest armor you can have in this life. And remember, in this life, we are not our parents' regrets, not our children's servants, and not someone else's shadow. For everyone, the most important thing in life is to face our true selves. When you start living true to yourself, your life will become more confident and free. Finally, I'd like to end today's sharing with a quote from the famous writer Milan Kundera. We once longed for the recognition of the outside world, but in the end, we realized that this world is our own, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. I wish for you and me to live true to our own light, to bravely step forward to meet the step forward of ourselves. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Support Step Forward with a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to catch the latest videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.